Today, I want to share something that really resonated with me, and that was the fact that a lot of ladies have been sharing very similar challenges in their health and fitness journey. And so, Jo shared with me that she has arthritis in her knees and that she feels really unfit. Lynn mentioned fatigue and exhaustion and aches and pains. And there's been quite a lot of you who have mentioned dealing with menopausal symptoms. And so today, I just want to say your body is not what it was 20 years ago, even though we might wish our bodies were what they were 20 years ago. It has had lots of wonderful experiences during those past 20 years. And so today, what I want to do is explore how to actually work with your body, not fight it and not push back against it, and to just find some type of joy, some type of happiness in movement and exercise, no matter what challenges you happen to be facing in life. And so it is all about listening to the wisdom of your body. And so this is something that is really, really a big passion of mine, that our body is constantly talking to us. So that stiffness that you have in the morning, it's not actually telling you stop moving. It's actually saying, hey, I'm a little stiff and I need you to actually move a little bit so that I feel a little bit better. And so it's not necessarily saying that you've got to do all these wonderful yoga poses that might be a struggle for you. What it's actually saying is there's something here and I want you to listen to it. So it could be that your knees get a little bit stiff after you've been sitting for too long, or maybe you've got an achy back after you've been sitting too long. That's your body actually saying to you, hey, get up, do something. Let's take some type of action. So you with me so far? So what the key is here is learning quite a number of different things. The first is to tell the difference between what's harmful pain when you move and what are natural movement sensations. Because sometimes when we exercise, we think that it's something that is going to hurt us, but that exercise might very well be the specific thing that we actually need. And I'm going to explore that a little bit more in just a moment. What we also want to understand is this, that our body needs different things on different days. And I know this better than anybody, is that some days I get up and I know that I need to go and do something, but I just feel just a little under the weather, a little bit fatigued. And it's the last thing that I'm thinking about doing. But I know that once I get out there and move a little bit more, I might just pick up that energy that I need, but I might not too. So it is listening, trying different things and working out what works for you. And that's where, identifying those energy levels that you have and working with them is so important. So we're looking for something that's going to energize us rather than depleting us. So here's something that is really, really powerful. So every limitation, this is what I want you to think about. Every limitation that we have is an invitation to get creative, is to think outside of the box. And that's the wonderful thing that I love about all the coaches at Strong Healthy Women. They're very, very capable, very, very quick to be able to come up with something different when someone has something a little bit different that they need to work with. And just this very week, I had a phone call from the lovely Betty, who's in her 80s, and said, I've got a heart monitor on, but I still want to keep working out. And the doctor said it was okay. But I also have a walking stick now, just for a little bit. And so can you actually do these adaptations for me? And it's like, of course we can, because she values the importance of moving, even with some level of limitations. And so we are getting creative. So we want to think about it as this door closing, but what we're doing is we're finding another door to open. So maybe we can't do high impact exercise. And we know that that's really good for postmenopausal women, right? But we might have all those aches and pains. And so maybe, just maybe, jumping in the pool and running around the pool and, you know, it's a lot gentler on our joints. And you might find that this is something that you can do, and it might become your very best friend. And you might also find that you're going to get your heart rate up. So high intensity interval training doesn't have to necessarily be done in the way that you see it being done. And remember, high intensity is based on how you are responding to that exercise, not how somebody else is responding to that exercise. So high in your case might be very different to somebody else. And so if your knees, for example, are giving you trouble, then think about, I can do upper body, or I can do some type of core movements. So it is getting creative and thinking outside the box. So let's talk about some of the common things that we've come across. Joint issues is probably one of the biggest things. And so how do we deal with that? We want to find something that's maybe gentle on those joints. We also want to find something that is going to help us build strength without putting strain on our body. We want to find ways to be flexible and understand that we want to have some level of variety. And so I myself are very familiar with arthritis. I've had arthritis in my knees since I was very young, since I was a teenager. And so what I found personally is that if I sat for too long, my knees would get very achy. And so the more I was moving, the better my arthritis was. Now, that might not be for you, but that's certainly what works for me. And if I think about joint issues, I'm thinking about young Busy, who's living with us. That's his name. He just likes to be called that. He's our grandson. We have a granddaughter and grandson who are living with us. So let me tell you, there's a new challenge. Actually, raising young people in in your 60s is not something that I would have envisaged at this time of life, but it is something that I am working through. And so he has straight away, I noticed how he couldn't use his cutlery when he was writing. You know, his hands would get really tired and he wouldn't be able to do it for too long. What I quickly observed was that he had this hypermobility in his joints. And so he had very, very flexible, wobbly fingers and elbows. And so what that means is that there's a lot of pressure on his joints. It also means that he doesn't have a lot of strength in his muscles. And so when you watch him do something, you can see that there is very limited core strength, very limited glute strength. And so very limited shoulder strength as well too. So just something like throwing a ball, but purposely throwing a big ball and hitting a spot. So he's actually having to work his shoulders, or throwing it into a basketball hoop is something that's going to help start build up those shoulders, which in turn is going to start to help him get stronger in his body. You know, we're going to do things with his fingers where he's going to be rolling up like little putty, and then going to be able to bring those back together. And it's a struggle for him, and his fingers get very, very tired. But here's the thing, he's keen to do it because he wants to be able to draw. Drawing is a huge passion of his. So, and we've come up with this really, really cute thing in his room. So I've given him my Swiss ball and he's sitting on that ball and he has the paper on the wall. So he's drawing at this height. And so he's having to use his core because he's sitting on a moving ball whilst he's drawing. And that way his shoulders are actually working at the same time. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about like getting creative to build that strength in our body. It just is about thinking outside of the box, or possibly even going to like an OT or a physiotherapist, or getting yourself a great personal coach who actually does understand that aging body and those things that you're going through right now in order to be able to give you these ideas about what you might do and point you in the right direction. So hopefully that's helped. I also want to explore, so joints are one of the things, and having those stronger muscles is really important to being able to support those joints. But then there's the energy. So that's the other part of it as well too. So when we're going through menopause, we might be feeling like we're fatigued. And it might not feel like those natural ebbs and flows that we get in energy. So we want to think about moving with those energy cycles and not pushing too much against them. So when we're having like a low energy day, then we're looking for gentle type of options. When we're having regular type of day, then it's moderate type of activities. And when we're feeling like we've got a high energy day, then we want to find more challenging moves to do. So I want you to think about this like having, let's say, different outfits in your wardrobe. So some days you want to put on the comfy clothes, and other days you want to get a little bit more dressed up. And so that's where exercise works with these energy flows. So we're going, okay, it's a comfy day today. Well, hang on a minute. It's a bit of a glam day today. And I'm going to, put it on and I'm going to strut my stuff and I'm going to feel fabulous because I'm going to be able to do just a little bit more exercise. So I want you to think about particularly honoring your rest days as well too. But I don't want you to give yourself 7 rest days in a row though. So remember there is such a thing as active recovery, and that active recovery is where we are still doing some type of movement. So you might not be lifting heavy weights that day. You might be lifting lighter weights and having something that's a little bit more gentle as far as that movement is concerned. So real success comes through not pushing through that pain or forcing ourselves to do something that doesn't feel right, but it is about finding something that works for your body. So here's what I want you to think about for your move moment this week is to actually do a body scan and take some form of action. So I'm going to call it the body scan and respond this week. So you can sit, you can stand, just comfortably, however you want to do that. I want you to take in nice 3 really deep breaths right into that tummy and then allow them to slowly exhale. And then I want you to start at your feet and then move up from there. And I want you to notice if there's any tightness or tension in any part of your body. And if there is, choose one of these areas that's asking for attention and start giving it attention. Now, this arm, this little hand is my mouse hand, okay? So yes, I'm the old-fashioned mouse person, not the little pad on the keyboard. I like my mouse. But with doing that, it means that I'm constantly, using this shoulder, and quite often I'll get quite stiff in here. So I'll get my little massage gun out and I'll give it a bit of a bash bang, bang, bang. Or sometimes I'll just sit here and use my fingers. And other times what I'll do is I'll start doing some mobility moves for my upper back. And I do have a few favorites of those that I do as well too. And so what we're doing there is we're just breaking these move moments down into really, really simple things that you can do, that you can take some level of consistent approach to it. So what we're doing this week is we're just paying attention to our body. We're doing these body scans and we're going, what needs attention? And let me focus on that one area. So we're not doing everything straight away. And so what I want you to do is to really pay attention to how this simple act of paying attention and responding to that tension in your body can actually shift how you feel. You actually pay attention to the fact that you've done something for yourself, and that in itself is worthwhile celebrating, right? It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So there's no right or wrong way to do the body scan. It's just whatever you feel comfortable in doing. So I've suggested sitting or standing. You might want to lay on the ground. It's totally up to you, or lay on your bed. So let's just recap on what we talked about today. We've explored this adapting movement to work with your body, not against it. And know that exercise and movement, one thing does not fit everybody. And so the other aspect of it is that it can change from day to day. So I really would love for you to do the challenge this week, which is that body scan and respond, and notice what your body is telling you. And I'd love it if you could share your discoveries in our Facebook group, which is Women Over 50, Get Active and Healthy, and hashtag it ageless adaptation. Okay, ageless adaptation. Try saying that thing quick. And so if you're struggling and you're not quite sure what to do, please just tag me and just say, Peter, can you give me some help with this? Because just this week, Carolyn reached out to me and we had a fabulous conversation, and there were a couple of things there where she went, I really like these ideas, and that's what I'm going to work on. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you feel great about yourself and great about your body in all its glory, whatever age it happens to be, and remembering that it has done so much for you and it continues to do so much for you. So let's celebrate our bodies and what they can do. So take care, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.